Hi, I'm Sandrine Blake, Manager of Member Events and Experience here at Amida. Thank you for joining us for today's online Live Your Life Wellness session. Today's session is sponsored by Amida, a Medicaid health plan designed to provide care for those living with or at elevated risk of HIV. At Amida, we believe that staying healthy is much more than just doctor's visits and medication. We believe in the whole person, mind, body, and spiritual wellness. We also look at aspects of life such as healthy food and housing. Stay tuned for more information on how you can contact us at Amida. Thank you. Enjoy.
Hello, I'm Rosemary Jordan, and welcome. We are going to be exploring how essential oils can help with stress reduction. And a little bit about my background. I am been using aromatherapy in my health and wellness practice for about 30 years. So I've explored many different oils, and I also do somatic integration with trauma, and Ayurveda is my other specialty, an ancient system of healing. So welcome, and I hope you enjoy this webinar. I'm just going to share my screen. And here we go. So just see where my little cursor is. Yeah, so the picture right before here is an amazing representation of a peaceful, calm effect of breathing in what plants have given us through nature, and just seeing this beautiful picture of a little animal getting that. And we as humans can receive that too through aromatherapy. And this is typically what's been happening more and more in our environment lately, is the amount of stress that we are under has escalated, a lot of it due to the current conditions. And there's just that underlying stress that can either be positive or negative. So in this picture, it actually is physically demonstrating touch with one's hand, so that there is connection to the frontal cortex, which helps the brain and brings a link back. And our bodies do have certain responses that automatically even move in certain ways. And of course, maybe this man is thinking, oh, I'd love to be on a beach. I'd love to be relaxing somewhere that's calm, and the sense of like when you see a picture like this, bringing in those memories or that energy of salt air, and the smell of salt air, and the feeling of maybe a cool breeze or a warm breeze, begins to awaken the senses and inform the brain to act differently. So even, visually, but we're going to be going into more of the senses of smell, and some of the other ones too. And then this is just us in the everyday right now, is coming back to the everyday, like what are we doing, how are we working, and the conditions of the stress that we're under now. So how do essential oils affect stress, and how does that reduce our stress? What I'm going to be going over is, how does stress affect our lives? What are essential oils? And how can essential oils help to reduce the stress that we are experiencing? And then how to use them safely. Stress affects our mental, our physical, our emotional, our spiritual well-being. And it creates poor judgment. It can create outbursts of emotional energy. Physically, it can be debilitating over time. It can create chronic health conditions. And spiritually, it's like, how are we enjoying our life? How are we connected? So this is just a diagram of the brain, and the hypothalamus is highlighted there, and that's part of the brain that controls and sends messages of when there's a danger that there needs to be stress hormones sent to all over the body, to all of the organs. And I'm going to show you another visual of that in a little while. But it's like your protection, alert, what are your fight or flight response to a stress or a perceived stress. And when you have this going on for prolonged times and it becomes a chronic thing of having stress, you begin to get symptoms. And here are some of the symptoms. There's many more experiencing. And just note if you're having any of these emotional or physical, mental symptoms, which is irritability, anxiousness, depression, headaches, insomnia, poor immune function, increased blood pressure. And some of these things can lead to other issues that are more damaging to the joints, to the heart, to respiratory function. So a little bit about essential oils. Now, the first most necessary thing is that when you're using an essential oil, you want to make sure that it is pure and safe to use, because it is not regulated by the FDA, the Federal Bureau of Department of Agriculture. Actually, it's considered a cosmetic, so they're very lenient on what ingredients are in products, and most essential oils are not tested rigorously. There is a company that I found that I'm going to be describing and showing some pictures of, which is doTERRA Essential Oils. And the company is highly reputable. It's the most tested and thoroughly tested, with independent testing labs outside the company that test the oil. So really, number one is actually the quality of what you're getting, because sometimes an oil can say therapeutic and it will have one drop of an essential oil in it, and the rest could be pesticides, contaminants, inorganic materials, other oils that are diluted into it, like sometimes even a mineral oil or something. So safety is number one, because you're putting this on your body, you're inhaling it, or you're possibly ingesting it, and that could be very detrimental. So if you're using a pure oil, it is 100% natural and safe. It comes from plants, and our bodies understand it. There aren't side effects and there aren't addictions with essential oils. Now, sometimes someone may have a slight reaction to something that their tissues are very delicate, and that's more specific. And these extracts are aromatic compounds derived from all parts of the plant. It can be the stems, the roots, the bark, the blossoms. So it comes from a variety of parts of the plant. And the effectiveness is one of the biggest things is that essential oils, because they are they're natural, and they have this capacity of interacting with our cells, and our cells' intelligence knows how to communicate with these plants. They have kind of an array of complexity within them that our bodies can understand. So this diagram here is showing how an essential oil can pass through the membrane of a cell. And in this diagram, the little blob in the middle is actually indicating like a viral type of organism that's inside the DNA, because that's what viruses will do. And essential oils can go into the nucleus of the cell and assist with homeostasis and helping the cell maintain health. The little blob on the outside there is an indicator of like a bacteria or microorganism that's outside that may be invading a cell. And this is typically where antibiotics are used to fight a intruder that's outside the cell membrane. And they can be effective. However, there's a lot of side effects with a lot of medications because the complexity is not there. It's not, doesn't have all of the components to make our bodies understand them. So essential oils permeate this membrane, and that is how basically it's a communication, an intelligence that is from when we're born, and from ancient times has always been utilized as plant medicine. So I'm going to go over a little bit about how to use essential oils. Obviously, it's aromatic, so you can open a bottle and smell. You can place a drop in your hand, a drop of oil, and then bring it up to the face. Take long, slow, deep breath. Let the vapors go into the brain. I usually do like 3 nice long deep breaths to really get an inhalation when I put it on my hands. And another way is that's a diffuser that's pictured there. And a diffuser takes the oil and puts it into the air molecules and circulates the essential oil into the atmosphere. Then you inhale and it goes into the brain. It's also like purifying your space, and it will support respiratory functions. Aromatic is ideal for affecting the emotions, and it's an immediate response that happens. And I'll show you this in the next slide. We have here, when you inhale, on the bottom you'll see receives the input of aromatic substances. So your olfactory nerve, it's the one nerve that is exposed to the environment and actually goes right to the brain. So any smell that you smell goes to your brain, even if it's not a good smell. So your brain is maybe going, oh, this is not good for me, if it's pollution or something like that. So that will actually create a stress response in your body to kind of get on guard for that, or into a defensive mode to protect itself. So what's happening here, it hits the olfactory bulb and transmits electrical signals to the limbic system, which is your emotional center. And also, as I move along here, so your limbic system's emotions, hormones, motivation, pains, and moods. And on this slide, you can see there is that response that goes deeper into other parts of the brain, like the hypothalamus that I mentioned earlier, which controls the autonomic nervous system. And the autonomic is your breath, your heart rate, your blood pressure, things like that. And if you've noticed, when you're under stress, that increases, and it's a survival mechanism from the beginning of time of humans, is to respond like animals would too if they're in this state of fear and they have to protect themselves or their family or like stay alive. So it is a very protective mechanism, but if it stays on, it creates havoc on your body. And where the hypothalamus, it goes to the pituitary gland, which is your master gland, and it starts sending out these messages affecting your adrenal. I don't know if you've ever heard of adrenal fatigue, which is like your adrenals go on, and that's what causes that pump up energy response. If they're on all the time, you will be adrenally fatigued, is one of the words. Adrenal fatigue is a common condition in our society. And that's because things are running on go and running on alert. And it may have just be perceptually, like you're under pressure, you think you have to do something. Our own minds can create these stresses. So all of the systems are affected: the thyroid, the reproductive and digestive system. And as you know, it's like your physiological response could be stomach ache, um, reproductive disorders, pain, um, heart, like infertility, things like that, and thyroid too. The other application, which we'll be going in, is skin, and that will, when you apply essential oils to the skin, they divert out to all the systems of the body. So they get, it's amazing how you can put something on your skin, and that's why it's important to put pure products on your skin, lotions or shampoos, etc., because they're getting to all of these systems. Um, the topical application here is also for localized benefit. If you're having aches and pains and joints, essential oils can be used. If you dilute them with a carrier oil, which is vegetable oils, we recommend a fractionated coconut oil, which is the one pictured here, but it's a little blurry, because studies have shown that the fat is taken out of that oil, but it helps to penetrate the essential oil very deep into the body and very quickly, and you'll sustain holding the energy of the essential oil. And that would be topically, and bottom of the feet is excellent to put on your feet. Essential oils, they distribute very well. It's an it's like a sponge, the bottom of your feet. So I'll go over some of the oils that you'll be using. The other way of using an essential oil that's pure, let me just reiterate that, because you do not want to just put any essential oil unless you know verifiably that it's real. You can take it under the tongue in a capsule. This is a picture of a capsulated version of copaiba, which is a wonderful, actually relaxing oil, very calming and soothing the nervous system. Or you can put it in water or beverage or under your tongue. So those are some of the applications. And what's pictured there is Roman chamomile, another very soothing essential oil. And here's just a group of like top 8 essential oils individually. I'll be going over some blends. As I mentioned, Roman chamomile, vetiver, which is very, very calming. It could put you to sleep. It's a good bedtime oil. Lavender and frankincense, which I'll be going over. Bergamot, which is Earl Grey. And that's a very calming and relaxing oil. Again, very nice for bedtime. Marjoram is more of a circulating, opening oil. And here we have a floral rose, which is the highest vibration oil, which put on really a lot of these emotional oils you want, or, oils for stress, on the heart, application, back of the neck, on the feet, and definitely inhaling them. And Lang Lang, which is also very wonderful floral soothing oil. And the most popular one, of course, is lavender. Everybody I know knows about lavender oil, or they've experienced some in their life. And it is like, it has a property in it that is just very much for calming the nervous system and relaxing the body. And here is frankincense. Frankincense, I want to mention this because it's the king of oils, or the gift of the kings, and it's actually a resin of the tree that's grown in a very remote areas that are arid and hot, and some in Africa, in Somalia, and then some in Middle East, in very dry, arid conditions, and they're very hard to cultivate. It's more of an expensive oil, but it's practical because it can help promote calm feelings. It's anti-aging, it's antioxidant, it helps cells perform optimally. It is a helps with cellular integrity, so the cells do not change and mutate. And I use frankincense. If I don't know what to use, I use it because it's applicable to almost everything. Aches and pains. Wild orange. Just like looking at that picture and taking in visually, like, what is it giving you? The orange, the brightness, the like uplifting sunshine. All of the citrus oils actually have an energizing effect that lift the mood and invigorate you. And that can change that stress response too, especially like smelling them. Okay, and this is a little diversion to copaiba, which I mentioned earlier. It hits actually different receptors in the body, the cannabinoid receptors, which like it's kind of a brother to frankincense on that diversity of what it can do, but it's hitting other different nervous system receptors. So excellent internally, externally, and balance, which is the grounding blend. So when you're stressed out, a lot of times you can be off center and everything like is taken, you're taken by everything. These oils are really good because these are actually, I'm talking about these two, for instance, are from from trees, and that wood aspect has an earthy grounding effect. So it's like the earth, the roots going down, and it's providing that benefit. And here's just a little matrix I wanted to show you that shows you, you know, in looking at, for instance, like you need to calm, you need to compose and placate, you need softness, maybe you need to rest and decrease that nervous system buzz. Serenity is another oil, a blend that has a diverse number of oils in it, including lavender and vetiver. Very good for sleep. So it really composes you. It makes you go, okay, I don't have to feel so anxious anymore. And then we have on number 2 is like an example of one of the blends is citrus bliss, or you can use any of the citrus oils, but it's stimulating and invigorating and motivating. So, you know, in the afternoons, I typically will use the citrus oil actually to that energy of 3 o'clock. Your body actually naturally wants to slow down a bit, and this will lift it up. And then again, balance, which gives you that where you're feeling no peace and you're stressed out, and it gives you that reassuring earthy connection. Elevation is a different, like a very particular oil, very good for when you're stressed but you don't feel inspired, and you need a little you need a little motivation in that way. And it contains an oil called Melissa, which is one of the most expensive. It's up there for pricing, but Melissa is very good for feelings of anxiousness and for connecting on a very spiritual level. Here's just an example of 4 oils in combination. If you were to use individual oils and you wanted to make a little blend to really drop in and shut out the world, is frankincense, vetiver, bergamot, and Roman chamomile. All calming and soothing and And each oil has different properties, so they affect the body a little bit differently. And now this is quite amazing because doTERRA created a blend of oils that were clinically tested for 2 years on adapting to stress. So it's very specific and very effective. Luckily, these oils are available through COVID, and we were able to donate a lot of the stress oils, especially Adaptiv, to the frontline workers. And this is wonderful because it's taking a lot of those different oils that I went over earlier and bringing them into one. And it's working on GABA, which is a neurotransmitter, which will help to create a nice calmness in the body. And the Adaptiv capsule is actually in the internal. You can't take some oils you do not want to take internally because there are certain plants that you wouldn't be able to consume. And so doTERRA created an herbalized formula with oil and herbs in a capsulated version. So that's available, and it actually balances a lot of brain like a lot of brain chemistry. This Adaptiv collection. So, do you want to feel excited and awesome? Okay, so if you do, the other foundation of your health is actually creating a nutritional balance too for stress. So these supplements doTERRA makes actually have oils in them, and they help deliver a lot of amazing essential nutrients. And they've been so tested and so well received. And it's one of those supplements where you do not excrete. Like, you know, when you go to pee, it's not yellow. It's like you're taking it in and getting many benefits. And I could go over that more individually if anybody wanted to. And essential oils are basically, they're pretty affordable because when you look at the scheme of what you spend on medical, once you've gotten like a condition and have to go to a doctor, and then you have to get a prescription, you have to take time to get there, and then just to make your health more complete, if you're eating well and you're assisting your body to function, it actually becomes very inexpensive. Essential oils, even like lemon, all the citrus oils are very inexpensive, maybe $10 for a 15 milliliter bottle. And there are people I know who have had chronic conditions that are extreme, and they have saved thousands and thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, because their doctor suggested that they do a more holistic approach